just pulls up. Just need to remove this auxiliary belt now. It's a T60 that goes down there in the tensioner. They may decide to reuse this belt, but this one's brand new, so I am going to reuse this, but you may decide to replace yours if it's old as well. So just before I move the belt, I like to make a few marks, one on the crank sprocket, one on the casting where the timing mark is, and then I just like to make two on the belt and two on the upper cam. And just while I remove the crank pulley, just in case if anything moves, I know I can line it back exactly where it was and I won't have any problems. Here's the upper cam timing mark. It's very small, that small little indentation, and it lines up with so you can see here the notch at the bottom there lines up with the notch in the top of the timing cover. And then somebody else in the past has obviously put a tip X mark there to try and make it a little more obvious. I must admit it is quite hard to spot, but it is there. Well, it looks like we're in agreement with the last guy who did it. His Tipex marks were pretty much in the same spot. Our cam marks are in the right spot. And then down here, see there's a little notch on the front of the crank. You follow that to the tooth on the gear wheel behind it, and then you follow that to the bottom of the casting mark just down there where I've put my Tipex mark. It's actually just slightly to the left of my Tipex mark. That was just to help me line things back up. It's not actually where the timing mark is. I've got a little diagram I'll show you to make it a little more clear. So there you go, you can see the casting on the back. You just line it up with the bottom of that little casting. So you can see the little green part is the bit we're supposed to line up, which ours is perfectly lined up, so that's good news. Now we're just going to remove the tensioner. There we go. Whew. She's tight. She is tight. Okay, very good. Pop that belt off. Lift it up. Now it's just a case of fitting up all our new stuff, removing the old pulleys, and we're away. Tensioner as well. Okay. That's the two of them. Don't forget to drop all your tools on the floor. I think I mentioned it earlier. This one here's a 12mm. Just get that lined up. Get them in finger tight. Nice and finger tight. So as we can see, there's a greater distance on this side of the pulley than there is on this side, because this is elliptical, which means this bolt is not in the center. So as you tighten it, you push the bearing further into the belt, thus putting tension on the belt. So what we want to try and do is when we put it on, we want to make sure we've got the shortest side as close to the belt as possible, just to try and make the belt go on a little easier. I think it's going to be quite difficult to fit this belt back on just because of how tight it was to come off, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll do this one from underneath so you can see it properly. So we just want to make sure that the top of the tensioner is located in that dowel. Very, very important to do that. And I always leave that bolt there loose just so the tensioner can move around as much as it has to or needs to or wants to. And that's it. Now we can fit our new belt. So what we'll do is we've just got the belt on. So you start from the crank, then do this pulley, then work it over the cam, then over the water pump, and then I recommend getting an Allen key or a hex, whatever you want to call it, one of these little jobbies, and just wind the tensioner all the way to open so you can slip it over the tensioner. And now we're at the point where we can push it all the way on. I couldn't film it because it's just so tight in here, but basically you want to start getting it on all at the same time and go around and just slowly push the belt on. You don't want to try and push it all the way on each pulley. You kind of want to have it hanging halfway off. It just makes it so much easier to fit the belt. So we'll push it on, we'll put a little bit of tension on the belt, and then we'll check our timing marks and make sure nothing's moved. And if it has moved, we'll have to take the belt off and start again. So now we're just going to set the tension on it. There's a little dial indicator. I'll get you a close-up of it in a minute, but this is essentially how you set it. So depending on your local climate, you will want to position the tensioner as follows. Obviously if it's cold, hot or medium, we kind of live in a temperate climate, so we're going with the middle. So there's a bit of a tight shot, but hopefully you can see down there that the tensioner is bang smack in the middle. So that fits my climate just fine. Now all I need to do is torque down the bolts and then turn over the engine, make sure the timing marks still line up. If they do, I can reassemble everything. Very good. Thank you, boy. Thank you. You having fun? Oh dear. Hey, the car's not interesting enough for you, no? You just want to play sticks all day, don't you? You don't think about anything else. Now we just want to tighten down this idler pulley. Similar torque setting. Perfect. So there's our cam timing marks all lined up. Those are the marks that the guy before us left, which are all lined up. And then, even though it's hard to see on the camera, but that also lines up perfectly. Our little crank mark there, follow it onto the tooth on the gear wheel, and then to the casting on the block. And that all lines up beautifully as well. So the engine's perfectly timed, everything's torqued down. All we need to do is reassemble it and start her up. Yes, the camera shot is terrible, but I'm afraid there isn't enough room for both of us. So I'm just going to fit this back on. There is a little locating dowel on it that you need to line up. I'll help you line up the bolt holes. There we go. Just get these started by hand. Is that when they're started? Yes, it is. I'm just going to run these down. Just hand tight for now. This is probably the easiest timing belt you could possibly ever do. An absolute piece of cake. There we go. And then we'll just pop that on there like that. Now we'll tighten down these bolts. Just about get on that one there. Not quite sure why the instructions for the time belt on this say to remove the engine roll bar at the top. I didn't bother, and I didn't really see the point. Maybe somebody can enlighten me and tell me why you're actually supposed to do that. Right, I can't get to this top one here, so I'm just going to finger tight that for now. There we go. Now we can tighten down this centre nut, then we'll go around and tighten these down. We can get to this one here probably when we spin over the engine. 300 Newton meters. Extremely tight. Wouldn't usually just gun things down, but my torque wrench that can do 300 Newton meters is off. You have to calibrate them every so often, so I don't have that. Most people don't bother torque them down ever, so it will be okay, but if you've got one or you can get hold of one, I would definitely recommend torquing it down. What you can do is put a pry bar between two bolts here and lean it on the subframe to hold this steady while you torque it down. That also works pretty good if you don't have an impact gun. Don't forget that plate, like I did. One like that. How did that go on? Did it go on like that? Must have gone on like that then. That's the one. This fitted back down in here. Make sure that all that is done up properly. Tell you what, you do one of these and you miss working on the old stuff. Everything just comes apart easily. Everything just kind of makes sense. You're not stood there scratching your head. This is back in the day when pretty much all timing belts were the same. Line up the marks, fit it. Goodness me, it's not like that now. You have to have a special tool for every engine. There we go. All snugged up. Make sure everything's fitted correctly. Make sure nothing is going to be rubbing on anything. Just pop this back now. Make sure we get these back inside their clips. There's one on either side, and I showed you the one on the other side earlier. There's a little hose just there that you clip in this, I think that's the return line. This would be the feed line, I think, for the pump. Yeah, that's right. So on the return line, there's another little clip down there that you need to do. So that's it, everything totally reassembled. Belt is refitted. I know I didn't show you the belt going back on. It was a little bit tricky with all my hands in the way, so there's no good footage of that, I'm afraid. Now all we need to do is start it up, make sure everything's okay, and then we can refit the wheel and move on to the next job. Oof. Moment of truth. Well, no matter how many timing belts I do, I always feel a little bit nervous. Yeah, she's fine. Very nice. Happy days. Now we can just put the wheel back on, and we've got brakes to do on this as well, so we'll get onto that next. Them brakes are going to need some work. Job done, happy days.